Now, it doesn't matter what calisthenic skills you're working towards, this concept makes it much easier to learn the skills. So understanding and using to your advantage the eccentric, the concentric. The eccentric is easier, the down phase. The concentric is harder, the up phase. If we look at the press handstand here, I'm using a jump for the harder start movement, the concentric, the going up. And I'm using a strict press eccentric for the down because it's the easier pathway. Exactly the same for the dip. I'm using toe assist for the concentric to help me through the hardest section, but I'm using full body weight for the eccentric as I come down. Here's another example. If I jump down on the floor and do a push-up, the down phase I can do on my toes. It's nice and easy. I can go all the way down till the body touches the floor. Now to come back up, I can use knees to help me up, and then at the top I go back into the full position and slowly come down again. Now you can just go through that and notice the difference between the up and the down, the concentric and the eccentric. Now it could also be range of motion we look at. So with the handstand push up, I could kick up to here, do a partial range, so come down a little bit and back up again. But then the eccentric, I'm going to go full range of motion and nice and slow all the way down, and that might be because I can't push out of that bottom position. But what that allows me to do is train a little bit of the eccentric and the concentric through the partial range, but I'm still getting that full range of motion, eccentric, to the head touches the floor. Now it's not just as simple as writing down the movement and then putting one exercise in for eccentric, one exercise for concentric, and think that that's going to work for everyone. We're all going to need to work with different eccentric exercises, different concentric exercises, and also know how to change that as we progress towards the skills. And that's where it can come a little bit tricky with picking the right movements. So for handstand push-up, for example, we just done the partial range and then we done the full rep, but I could have gone crow to handstand, so using some momentum to get me up, and then do my strict eccentric down. It might not be strength that you're lacking, it might be flexibility or balance. So something like the press handstand, I might be able to do a partial range concentric, but when I get to the top, I don't have the balance to hold here, so I need to use some wall assist on the way back down to get the full range of motion. Get those out of the way, like so. So I use the momentum and partial range to get me up, but then I come down slowly with a little bit of help from the wall, but I can get the full range as long as I kick those out of the way or get someone to move them. Here's another fun one that shows it differently again. So let's do a pistol squat. So I have limited flexibility unless I really warm them up or stick my shoes on in terms of my ankles. I'm going to use the plate to help me from a heel lift to make it easier from a mobility point of view, and then I'm going to use the weight to help me get back up. So when I go down, I can go down with control there, but to get back up, I need to take the weight in front of me to pull me back out. So I'm using this 2.5 kilo plate and the extension of my arm to pull me out of the position for the concentric, but for the eccentric, I just need the heel lift. So what's super important is whatever skills we're working towards, we need to make sure that we know the line of progression. So basically, if we're going for a push-up, the goal is here. The end goal is there. This is where we're at. So our starting point, this is our finish. And we need to know all the incremental exercises that we can do to take us from the start position to the goal. And the more exercises and variations of progressions we know, the easier it is to pick something that fits our eccentric and something that picks our concentric week to week, session to session. So as we improve, we can slowly change these to fit our current level. And then as soon as we can do the thing, so if I'm doing handstand push-ups, and maybe I get that first repetition where I get the eccentric and I get the concentric, but I can't quite make that next repetition, I could use a little bit of help to get another rep. I could use a different method to get me up again, to get more repetitions. So it doesn't just come in to learn the skill, you can also use it for things like drop sets, where you're changing the intensity as you go on the fly. And that is the cool thing with a lot of the calisthenics moves, is we don't need to go and grab another weight or set up another thing. We can just change it on the fly while we're doing the movement, make it slightly easier as we get tired. Now, my goal with my app and my online coaching is to help people fill all of these gaps for the skills they want to work towards. But you can understand how tricky that is to communicate all that information in something like the app. So if you are using the app and you're struggling with working out what progressions and things you should be working, you can reach out via the Discord, or you can email me direct, and I'll update the app and the programs and things to fill as many gaps as possible for as many people as possible. If you are interested in coaching or the app, check out my website, www.paultwyman.com.au. Thumbs up and subscribe would be appreciated, and I'll speak to you in the next one.